collection could be worth thousands, or even much more to the right collector. In today's video, we're revealing 5 of the hardest to find pennies, including rare 2009 Bicentennial Lincoln Cents, the legendary 1943 steel penny, and valuable Lincoln wheat pennies that continue to attract collectors. Stay with us until the end, because the last coin might be the hidden treasure you've been searching for. Imagine reaching into an old jar of pennies,
spotting a 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial birth and early childhood cent with a Denver mint mark, and wondering whether it could be something special. Millions of Americans have handled these coins without taking a second look, yet collectors know that every coin deserves a careful inspection. While most examples are worth only face value, certain high-grade pieces and genuine mint errors have attracted strong interest from collectors, proving that even a modern penny can become an exciting discovery. The 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial series was created to celebrate the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Instead of producing only one reverse design that year, the United States Mint released 4 different designs, each representing a major chapter of Lincoln's life. The first design, known as Birth and Early Childhood in Kentucky, honors Lincoln's humble beginnings in a simple log cabin. This design reminds collectors that one of America's greatest presidents started life in modest circumstances before rising to national leadership. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of these coins with the D Mint mark. Because so many were struck, finding an ordinary circulated example is not difficult. However, collectors are always searching for coins that stand apart from the rest. Exceptional strike quality, original surfaces, attractive color, and unusual minting errors can transform an ordinary-looking penny into a collectible piece that commands far more than 1 cent. Take a close look at the reverse of the coin. The detailed log cabin immediately catches the eye. Every line in the wooden structure was carefully engraved to create a realistic appearance despite the tiny size of the coin. The surrounding landscape symbolizes the frontier environment where Lincoln spent his earliest years. Above the design appears the inscription, United States of America, while E pluribus unum is also displayed. The denomination 1 cent appears prominently below, making the design both historical and practical. The obverse continues the familiar Lincoln portrait that has appeared on the cent since 1909. Sculptor Victor David Brenner's famous portrait remains one of the most recognizable coin designs in American history. Around the portrait are the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 2009. On Denver examples, the small D mint mark appears beneath the date, identifying the coin's place of manufacture. Collectors appreciate this series because it marked a unique moment in modern United States coinage. Instead of changing the Lincoln portrait, the Mint celebrated Lincoln's life through 4 artistic reverse designs. Many people saved examples from circulation, but surprisingly, not every preserved coin remained in perfect condition. Coins often developed spots, fingerprints, scratches, or discoloration because they were stored improperly. That is why condition plays such an important role in today's collector market. A heavily worn coin may still have historical interest, but its value usually remains modest. On the other hand, a coin with sharp details, brilliant original luster, and virtually no imperfections can command dramatically higher prices. Professional grading services evaluate these qualities carefully, assigning grades that help determine market value. Strike quality is another important factor. Some Denver Mint coins display exceptionally crisp details on Lincoln's portrait and on the tiny log cabin. Fine lines in the wood, sharp lettering, and complete design elements make these examples especially attractive. Collectors often compare multiple coins before selecting the finest example for their collections. Color also influences desirability. Copper-plated zinc cents are commonly classified as red, red-brown, or brown. Fully red coins retaining their original mint color are generally the most valuable, particularly in the highest certified grades. Even a slight change in color can significantly affect collector demand. Mint errors add another layer of excitement. While most 2009 D birth and early childhood cents were produced normally, genuine errors occasionally escaped the mint. Off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, retained cuds, clipped planchets, doubled dies, and dramatic die breaks are among the varieties collectors eagerly seek. Each genuine error is different, making these coins fascinating to study. Authentication is essential before assuming a coin is rare. Many damaged coins are mistaken for mint errors when the marks actually occurred after the coin entered circulation. Professional grading and authentication provide confidence that a coin's unusual appearance resulted from the minting process rather than later damage. Auction results demonstrate the importance of certification and condition. Ordinary circulated examples generally trade for very small premiums, while certified gem quality coins and significant authenticated mint errors can realize substantially higher prices when multiple collectors compete for the same piece. Competitive bidding often reflects rarity, eye appeal, and collector demand rather than age alone. If you discover a 2009 D birth and early childhood cent, examine it carefully under good lighting. Check both sides for unusually strong details, doubled lettering, off-center strikes, or other characteristics that appear different from typical examples. Avoid cleaning the coin, as cleaning usually reduces collector value by altering the original surfaces. Store promising fines in protective holders to prevent scratches and environmental damage. Simple precautions today may preserve a coin's appearance for many years, especially if it later proves to be a desirable variety worthy of professional grading. The popularity of Lincoln Cents ensures continued collector interest in this series. Every year, new enthusiasts begin searching through rolls, pocket change, and inherited collections, hoping to uncover an overlooked treasure. Although most coins remain common, the excitement comes from the possibility that an unusual variety or exceptionally preserved example could still be waiting to be found. For collectors, the real value of this coin extends beyond dollars. It represents a historic anniversary, thoughtful artistic design, and the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln. Whether worth 1 cent or considerably more because of exceptional preservation or a genuine mint error, every 2009 birth and early childhood cent tells part of America's story and reminds us that careful observation is one of the most rewarding skills in coin collecting. The next coin in today's video is the 1936 Abraham Lincoln Wheat 1 cent with a large date and no mint mark. Since there is no mint mark below the date, this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. During the 1930s, Philadelphia did not place a mint mark on Lincoln cents, making the absence of a mint mark completely normal. Even though millions of these coins were produced, finding an exceptional example today has become much more difficult because so many spent decades in circulation. The year 1936 represents an interesting period in American history. The United States was still recovering from the Great Depression, and every penny carried real purchasing power. Families saved every cent they could, and these small copper coins changed hands countless times in grocery stores, gas stations, local markets, and neighborhood businesses. Each coin became part of America's economic recovery, quietly passing from one person to another while witnessing one of the most important decades in the nation's history. The Lincoln Wheat Cent series had already become one of America's favorite coin designs by 1936. Introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it was the first regular United States circulating coin to feature the portrait of a real historical figure instead of the symbolic Liberty designs that had appeared on earlier American coins. That decision changed the appearance of American coinage forever. On the front of the coin, Victor David Brenner's portrait of Abraham Lincoln displays remarkable artistry. Even on circulated examples, collectors often look carefully at Lincoln's hair, cheek, jawline, coat, and bow tie to judge the amount of remaining detail. Around the portrait are the familiar inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1936. On Philadelphia examples, the area beneath the date remains blank because no mint mark was used. Turning the coin over reveals the classic wheat ears reverse, another design that has become one of the most recognizable images in American numismatics. Two graceful wheat stalks frame the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America, while the national motto, E pluribus unum, appears across the top. This simple yet elegant reverse remained in use until 1958, before being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. The 1936 Philadelphia Wheat Cent had a substantial mintage, with well over 300 million coins produced. Because of this large production, ordinary circulated examples remain common today. However, collectors understand that rarity is not determined solely by mintage numbers. Survival rates, condition, striking quality, original surfaces, and unusual mint-made characteristics all play significant roles in determining desirability. Many collectors are surprised to learn that a dirty appearance does not automatically mean a coin has little value. Dirt, natural toning, and decades of circulation tell the story of a coin's journey through history. While heavy damage usually reduces collector value, some coins with original, untouched surfaces are actually preferred over examples that have been harshly cleaned. Cleaning can permanently alter the metal, leaving scratches and unnatural brightness that experienced collectors immediately recognize. When examining a 1936 wheat cent, experts carefully inspect the date under magnification. They also study the lettering, the spacing of the inscriptions, the rims, and every detail of Lincoln's portrait. Strong strikes with crisp lettering generally attract greater collector interest, while weakly struck examples are less desirable. Even subtle differences can influence how collectors evaluate a coin. Collectors also search for genuine mint errors associated with Lincoln wheat cents from this era. Although major errors are extremely scarce, off-center strikes, die cracks, die breaks, lamination errors, clipped planchets, and dramatic doubled dies can significantly increase collector demand. These are true mint-made errors that occurred during production and are very different from damage caused after the coin entered circulation. Professional grading services play a major role in today's coin market. Authentication by respected grading companies provides buyers with confidence that a coin is genuine and accurately graded. Certified coins often perform better in competitive auctions because bidders know exactly what they are purchasing. For valuable varieties or unusual errors, certification is considered essential by many experienced collectors. Auction values vary enormously depending on condition and rarity. A typical circulated 1936 Philadelphia wheat cent is usually worth only a modest premium over face value, while attractive uncirculated examples can sell for considerably more. Genuine mint error examples, especially those with dramatic and authenticated production mistakes, may bring much stronger prices because collectors compete aggressively for unusual pieces. Exceptional, one-of-a-kind combinations of rarity, preservation, and mint error have achieved remarkable auction results, but such coins are extremely uncommon and should always be authenticated before any value claims are made. That is why knowledgeable collectors never judge a coin solely by its dirty appearance. Instead, they look beneath the surface for genuine mint characteristics, original details, and signs that the coin may be something far more interesting than an ordinary wheat cent. Sometimes the most exciting discoveries begin with a penny that everyone else overlooked. Next up, the 1943 Lincoln steel cent remains one of the most recognizable coins in American history. At first glance, many people mistake it for a dime because of its silver-gray appearance, but its story is completely different. Produced during the height of World War II, this unique 1-cent coin represents a time when every important material was carefully conserved for the war effort. Copper was urgently needed to manufacture military equipment, ammunition, communication systems, and countless other supplies. To help support the nation, the United States Mint temporarily changed the composition of the Lincoln cent from its traditional bronze alloy to zinc-coated steel. That single decision created one of the most fascinating chapters in American coin collecting. Unlike the familiar reddish-brown Lincoln cents, the 1943 steel cent immediately stands out because of its bright metallic color. Fresh examples originally displayed a brilliant zinc coating that reflected light with an almost chrome-like appearance. As these coins circulated through everyday commerce, many developed darker shades of gray, charcoal, or even black due to wear and environmental exposure. Some also show areas where the zinc coating has worn away, revealing the steel underneath. These natural changes make every circulated example unique in appearance. The obverse features Victor David Brenner's timeless portrait of Abraham Lincoln. Around the portrait appear the familiar inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1943. Your featured coin is the Philadelphia issue, identified by the absence of a mint mark. During that year, the Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of steel cents, making it the largest producer of the 3 United States mint facilities. Although many were made, relatively few survived in exceptional condition because these coins were widely used during wartime. Turn the coin over, and the classic wheat ears frame the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above them appears the national motto E pluribus unum. This reverse design had served the Lincoln Cents series since 1909 and would continue until its replacement by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. For collectors, the wheat reverse remains one of the most beloved designs in American numismatics. One reason collectors continue searching for 1943 steel cents is their unusual composition. Steel was never intended to be a long-term replacement for bronze. The coins rusted easily whenever the protective zinc coating became damaged. Moisture, fingerprints, and improper storage often caused corrosion, leaving many surviving examples with rough surfaces or dark stains. Because of this, well-preserved coins are much scarcer than the original mintage might suggest. Some circulated examples also display minor lamination defects caused by imperfections in the steel strip before the blanks were punched. These flaws may appear as thin peeling layers or slightly raised sections of metal. Collectors find genuine plancher laminations interesting because they originated during the manufacturing process rather than after the coin entered circulation. However, careful examination is necessary because post-mint damage can sometimes resemble genuine mint-made defects. Many beginning collectors confuse scratches, dents, corrosion, or peeling zinc with valuable mint errors. Experienced numismatists know that authentication is essential. A certified mint error receives far greater confidence in the marketplace because experts have verified that the unusual feature occurred during production rather than through later damage. Strike quality varies considerably among 1943 steel cents. Some coins exhibit exceptionally sharp details in Lincoln's hair, beard, coat, and facial features. Others show weaker strikes, particularly in the central areas of the design. Collectors often pay significant premiums for coins with crisp details and attractive eye appeal. Luster also plays a major role in determining value. Freshly struck steel cents originally possessed brilliant cartwheel luster across both sides. As coins circulated, friction gradually reduced this brilliance. High-grade uncirculated examples retaining full original luster remain highly desirable because they are increasingly difficult to locate after more than 80 years. Another characteristic collectors study closely is the condition of the zinc coating. Even small spots of corrosion can reduce desirability. Coins with smooth, even surfaces and minimal discoloration generally receive stronger interest from advanced collectors than examples with heavy rust or environmental damage. The 1943 steel cent has inspired generations of treasure hunters because of its famous counterpart, the extremely rare 1943 bronze cent. While millions of steel cents were intentionally produced, a tiny number of bronze planchers accidentally remained in the presses and were struck with the 1943 date. Those genuine bronze errors rank among the most valuable American coins ever discovered. As a result, many people mistakenly believe every 1943 cent is extremely valuable. In reality, identifying the correct metal is the first step in understanding a coin's true rarity. Collectors also search for dramatic mint errors on genuine steel cents. Off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchers, die cracks, die breaks, repunched mint marks on Denver and San Francisco issues, and doubled dies all attract attention when properly authenticated. These varieties demonstrate how even a common date coin can become highly collectible when something unusual occurred during the minting process. Professional grading services carefully evaluate each coin's authenticity, surface preservation, strike, luster, and eye appeal before assigning a numerical grade. Even a small difference in grade can have a significant impact on market value. Coins graded near the top of the scale often command strong prices because collectors assembling registry-quality sets compete for the finest certified examples. Today's auction market continues to reward exceptional quality. Ordinary circulated 1943 Philadelphia steel cents generally remain affordable for beginning collectors. Certified gem quality pieces, spectacular mint errors, or historically important examples can achieve much stronger prices because demand consistently exceeds supply among advanced numismatists. Exceptional provenance, outstanding eye appeal, and rare error combinations further increase collector interest. If you find a 1943 steel cent in an old collection or pocket of forgotten coins, avoid cleaning it. Cleaning removes original surfaces, creates unnatural hairline scratches, and usually reduces collector value. Instead, hold the coin only by its edges and store it in a protective holder until it can be examined more closely. A simple magnet test can also help identify the coin's composition. Genuine 1943 steel cents are attracted to a magnet because of their steel core, while the famous bronze errors are not. Even so, unusual results should always be confirmed by professional experts because altered coins exist in the marketplace. Collectors are fascinated by the 1943 steel cent because it represents far more than a temporary change in metal. It tells the story of a nation adapting to wartime demands, conserving critical resources, and continuing to produce everyday coinage despite enormous global challenges. Every surviving example carries that remarkable history. Although most circulated 1943 Philadelphia steel cents are modestly priced, the combination of extraordinary preservation, authenticated mint errors, and exceptional rarity can elevate certain examples into the upper levels of the collector market. The finest certified error specimens have attracted intense bidding from dedicated collectors, demonstrating that remarkable coins continue to inspire excitement decade after decade. For anyone passionate about American numismatics, the 1943 Lincoln steel cent remains one of the most iconic and historically significant 1-cent coins ever produced. Next up, the year 1938 was an interesting time in American history. The country was still recovering from the Great Depression, families watched every penny they spent, and millions of Lincoln wheat cents passed from hand to hand every single day. Most people never imagined that one of those ordinary-looking pennies would one day become one of the most closely examined coins in American numismatics. Today, we're taking a close look at the 1938 D Lincoln wheat 1 cent in circulated fine condition with a large date appearance, a coin that many collectors overlook until they discover just how much the right example can be worth. If you've ever searched through an old coin jar, inherited a collection, or found a dusty penny tucked away in a forgotten box, this is a story you'll want to hear because one small detail can make all the difference. At first glance, the 1938 D Lincoln wheat cent appears to be just another old copper penny. Years of circulation often leave it with smooth high points, darker chocolate brown surfaces, tiny scratches from decades of everyday use, and worn edges that tell the story of a coin that faithfully served the American economy. Yet experienced collectors know that appearance alone never tells the whole story. Sometimes the greatest treasures are hiding beneath ordinary wear, waiting for someone with patience and knowledge to recognize them. The obverse features the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. His profile remains one of the most recognizable images ever placed on an American coin. Above Lincoln is the word Liberty, while the date 1938 appears prominently near the lower right side of the portrait. Beneath the date is the small but very important D mint mark, identifying the coin as having been struck at the Denver Mint. That tiny letter has fascinated collectors for generations because mint location often plays a major role in rarity and value. Turn the coin over and you'll see the classic wheat ear reverse that gave the Lincoln wheat cent its popular nickname. Two elegant wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America, while the motto E pluribus unum arches gracefully above. Even after decades of circulation, many examples still display enough detail to reveal the beautiful craftsmanship that has made the wheat cent one of America's favorite coin designs. When these pennies were released into circulation, no one treated them as collectibles. Children spent them on candy, adults carried them in leather wallets, and merchants counted them by the hundreds at the end of each business day. Most eventually wore down through constant use. Because they were ordinary money, countless examples were lost, damaged, cleaned, bent, or melted over the decades. As a result, finding an attractive original circulated example today is becoming more difficult than many people realize. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents during the late 1930s, ensuring that commerce throughout the western United States had a steady supply of small change. Although the total mintage was substantial, survival in truly original condition is another matter entirely. Collectors place a premium on coins that have never been harshly cleaned or altered because original surfaces preserve the authentic history of the piece. One of the first things experts examine is the color of the copper. Original pieces may range from bright reddish brown to rich chocolate brown depending on how they were stored over the decades. A naturally aged surface often commands more respect than an artificially cleaned coin because originality is one of the most valuable qualities in numismatics. Even a circulated fine example can generate strong interest if its surfaces remain honest and untouched. Next comes the strike quality. Not every 1938 D cent left the dies with identical sharpness. Some show bold lettering, crisp wheat lines, and well-defined details on Lincoln's portrait, while others appear weaker because of worn dies or lower striking pressure. Collectors pay close attention to these differences since stronger strikes generally attract more competition when quality examples reach the marketplace. The date itself deserves careful inspection. Collectors frequently discuss numeral size, spacing, and die characteristics when studying Lincoln Cents. While the 1938 issue is not recognized by major grading services as a separate large date variety in the same way that some other Lincoln Cent years are, certain die characteristics can make individual coins especially desirable. Specialists often compare date placement, digit alignment, and die wear to identify unusual examples that stand apart from ordinary pieces. The tiny D mint mark should also be examined under magnification. Collectors look for signs of repunched mint marks, die chips, doubled features, or unusual positioning. Genuine mint-made varieties can dramatically increase collector demand because they represent small production differences that occurred during the striking process. These fascinating mistakes transform an ordinary penny into a conversation piece sought after by specialists. Another important factor is the condition of Lincoln's hair, beard, and coat. Even on a fine-grade coin, enough detail should remain to identify important design elements. Professional grading services evaluate every high point carefully before assigning a numerical grade. Small differences in preservation can mean significant differences in value. The reverse offers just as many clues. Strong wheat lines, bold lettering, and attractive rims indicate a coin that has survived decades without excessive abuse. Collectors especially appreciate examples that retain even wear across both sides, rather than uneven damage caused by cleaning or environmental exposure. Error collectors add another layer of excitement to the search. Although standard 1938 D cents are collectible in their own right, genuine mint errors generate exceptional attention whenever they appear. Off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, retained cuds, lamination errors, and dramatic doubled dies are among the possibilities that specialists hope to discover. Because these errors were accidental, they exist in much smaller numbers than regular production coins. A dramatic off-center strike showing a clear date and mint mark can bring impressive prices because it combines visual appeal with rarity. Likewise, a major die break that leaves raised metal across the coin immediately captures the attention of advanced collectors. Lamination errors, caused by impurities within the metal strip before striking, create fascinating peeling effects that are unmistakably different from post-mint damage. Professional authentication plays a crucial role whenever a valuable Lincoln cent is discovered. Reputable grading services carefully examine the coin to verify authenticity, identify any significant varieties, and assign an accurate grade. Certified coins generally inspire greater buyer confidence because their condition and authenticity have been independently confirmed. Market demand for Lincoln wheat cents has remained remarkably strong for decades. Many collectors begin their hobby with wheat cents because they are affordable, historically important, and available in numerous dates and varieties. As experience grows, these same collectors often pursue higher quality examples, rare errors, and elusive die varieties, increasing competition for the finest certified coins. Auction results repeatedly demonstrate that exceptional coins attract determined bidding. Ordinary circulated 1938 D cents sell for modest amounts, but certified examples featuring rare mint errors, extraordinary eye appeal, or unique die varieties can command dramatically higher prices. Coins with outstanding provenance or inclusion in famous collections may also receive additional attention when offered at major auctions. Imagine discovering an old family coin album that has remained untouched for generations. As you carefully remove each penny from its holder, one coin immediately stands out. Its original brown color remains attractive. The Denver mint mark is crisp, and unusual doubling catches your eye under magnification. After professional authentication confirms a significant mint variety, excitement spreads throughout the collecting community. Stories like this remind us why so many people continue searching through inherited collections and forgotten jars of old coins. Exceptional error examples have achieved remarkable auction prices because collectors recognize their rarity and historical significance. In rare circumstances involving spectacular mint errors, extraordinary preservation, and certified authenticity, specialized Lincoln Cents have approached or exceeded the $600,000 range at elite auctions. Such values apply only to truly exceptional pieces rather than ordinary circulated examples, making authentication essential before drawing conclusions about any coin's worth. Whether your 1938 Lincoln Cent ultimately proves to be worth a few dollars or represents a remarkable numismatic discovery, the excitement lies in the careful examination. Every scratch, every die marker, every tiny design detail tells part of the story of a coin that has traveled through nearly 9 decades of American history. That possibility, the chance that an overlooked penny could reveal something extraordinary, is exactly what keeps collectors searching one coin at a time. Next, have you ever looked at a handful of old pennies and wondered if one of them might be worth far more than a single cent? That question has inspired collectors for generations, and today we're taking a close look at the 1958 Abraham Lincoln Cent. While millions of these coins were produced at the Denver Mint, a tiny number stand out because of exceptional preservation, striking quality, and unusual mint-made characteristics. Those special pieces have attracted intense competition whenever they appear at major auctions. If you have a jar of old wheat cents tucked away in a drawer, don't overlook a 1958 The coin you're holding could be much more interesting than it first appears. The 1958 Lincoln Cent represents the final chapter of one of America's most beloved coin series. Only 1 year later, in 1959, the familiar wheat ears on the reverse would be replaced with the Lincoln Memorial design to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. That makes every 1958 cent historically significant because it marks the end of an era that began back in 1909. Collectors appreciate these final year coins because they symbolize the conclusion of nearly 5 decades of American coinage history. The Denver Mint produced well over 800 million Lincoln Cents in 1958, making the date common in ordinary circulated grades. Because of that enormous production, most examples found in pocket change today are worth only a modest premium over face value if they are worn. However, the story changes dramatically when a coin survives with exceptional eye appeal, original mint luster, and a strong strike. Those are the qualities that serious collectors pursue. One of the first things experienced collectors examine is the mint mark. On the 1958 wheat cent, the small d beneath the date indicates the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. Collectors check whether the mint mark is sharp, properly formed, and appears exactly as it left the dies. Any unusual appearance must be carefully evaluated because many odd-looking mint marks are simply the result of damage after the coin entered circulation rather than a genuine mint variety. The obverse features Victor David Brenner's famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing to the right. Above the portrait appears the national motto, "In God We Trust." The word liberty is positioned to the left, while the date and mint mark appear to the right. Even after decades, Brenner's design remains one of the most recognizable images in American coinage. Turning the coin over reveals the classic reverse that collectors affectionately call the wheat reverse. 2 elegant wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America. Across the top is the motto, E pluribus unum. This simple yet beautiful design remained in use from 1909 through 1958, making it one of the longest-running reverse designs in modern American coins. When evaluating a 1958 wheat cent, professional grading services pay close attention to wear on Lincoln's cheek, jawline, hair, and coat. They also inspect the wheat kernels and stalk lines on the reverse. A coin with only slight circulation may still appear attractive, but every trace of wear reduces its grade and usually its value. Color is another important factor. Copper coins are generally classified as brown, red-brown, or red. Original red examples retain most of their bright mint color and are often the most valuable. Red-brown coins display a mixture of original copper color and natural toning. Brown examples have fully toned over time and can still be desirable if they possess attractive surfaces. Sometimes collectors encounter coins with unusually dark colors. While dramatic toning can occasionally occur naturally, black, rusty, or dirty surfaces are more commonly the result of environmental exposure, improper storage, chemicals, moisture, or soil. Those conditions generally reduce collector value rather than increase it. That is why experts recommend distinguishing genuine mint characteristics from post-mint damage before assigning a premium. Strong strikes also attract attention. A sharply struck 1958 D displays crisp lettering, bold wheat lines, and well-defined details throughout Lincoln's portrait. Coins struck from fresh dies often have better eye appeal than those produced after the dies experience significant wear during high-speed production. Mint luster is another characteristic collectors love. When a coin leaves the presses, microscopic flow lines create a distinctive cartwheel effect that rotates across the surface as the coin is tilted under light. Original luster is difficult to preserve once a coin begins circulating, so examples retaining vibrant mint brilliance command stronger prices. Professional grading companies authenticate and grade valuable Lincoln cents using a numerical scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS-60 is considered mint state, meaning it shows no circulation wear but may have noticeable marks from contact with other coins during storage. Higher grades such as MS-65, MS-666, and above become increasingly scarce and desirable. Auction history has demonstrated that exceptional Lincoln wheat cents can achieve remarkable prices when rarity, quality, and collector demand combine. While an ordinary circulated 1958 D is inexpensive, a superb certified mint state example with outstanding eye appeal and exceptional preservation may sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Extremely rare mint-made varieties or extraordinary condition rarities from the Lincoln series have reached much higher prices, although those results apply only to genuinely exceptional coins. Many beginning collectors mistakenly assume every old penny is valuable simply because of its age. In reality, rarity depends on much more than the year alone. Condition, originality, certification, eye appeal, and genuine mint-produced varieties all influence the final auction result. Learning these factors helps collectors make informed decisions and avoid overestimating damaged pieces. If you own a 1958 D wheat cent, examine it carefully under good lighting. Look for original surfaces, strong details, and signs that the coin has not been harshly cleaned. Cleaning often leaves tiny hairline scratches that reduce collector interest. Even if a cleaned coin appears brighter, most experienced collectors prefer untouched original surfaces. A magnifying glass or coin loupe can reveal fine details that are difficult to see with the naked eye. Inspect the lettering, the mint mark, the wheat stalks, and Lincoln's portrait. Compare your coin with photographs of certified examples to better understand what separates average coins from exceptional ones. As the final wheat cent issued from the Denver Mint before the Lincoln Memorial design debuted, the 1958 D continues to hold an important place in American numismatic history. Whether your example is an inexpensive circulated coin or a beautifully preserved mint state survivor, it represents the closing chapter of an iconic series that collectors have treasured for generations. Next up, the 1944 Lincoln wheat cent without a mint mark is one of the most fascinating coins in the entire Lincoln cent series. At first glance, it may appear to be just another old penny that has spent decades in circulation, but experienced collectors know that this year deserves much closer attention. Hidden among the millions of ordinary examples are a handful of remarkable pieces that have become legendary in the world of coin collecting. Because of this, the 1944 wheat penny continues to attract attention from beginners, advanced collectors, and major auction houses alike. The year 1944 marked an important transition in American history. World War II was still underway, but the United States was preparing for victory while maintaining massive industrial production. During 1943, pennies had been struck using zinc-coated steel to conserve copper for the war effort. However, by 1944, the mint returned to a copper-based alloy made largely from recycled wartime shell casings. This unique historical connection gives every authentic 1944 wheat cent a special story that collectors appreciate. A 1944 Lincoln wheat cent without a mint mark was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Unlike coins from Denver or San Francisco, Philadelphia cents of that period carried no mint mark beneath the date. This makes the missing mint mark completely normal for Philadelphia issues, although many beginning collectors mistakenly believe it is an error. Understanding this distinction is one of the first lessons every coin collector learns. The obverse features Victor David Brenner's timeless portrait of Abraham Lincoln. Above the portrait appears, "In God We Trust," while Liberty is positioned to the left and the date 1944 is displayed on the right. Lincoln's portrait has become one of the longest-running designs in American coinage, representing honesty, leadership, and national unity. The reverse displays two elegant wheat ears surrounding the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. Across the top is the national motto, E pluribus unum. This classic reverse design remained in production until 1958 and continues to be one of the most recognizable coin designs ever produced by the United States Mint. The Philadelphia Mint produced well over 1 billion Lincoln cents during 1944, making the regular issue common in circulated grades. Even though the mintage was enormous, decades of circulation, environmental exposure, cleaning, and damage have greatly reduced the number of attractive surviving examples. Finding one with sharp details, original luster, and beautiful color is much more difficult than many people realize. Collectors carefully evaluate the quality of Lincoln's hair, ear, cheek, jawline, beard, and coat. Strong detail in these areas usually indicates a coin that experienced very little circulation. On the reverse, specialists examine the wheat stalks, grain lines, lettering, and rim for sharpness and completeness. Color also has a major influence on value. Brown examples are the most common because copper naturally darkens with age. Red-brown coins retain portions of their original mint color, while fully red coins are the most desirable. A certified mint state red, 1944 Philadelphia wheat cent, with exceptional eye appeal can command a significant premium over an ordinary circulated example. Collectors also pay close attention to strike quality. Some coins were struck with greater pressure, producing crisp lettering and well-defined design elements. Others display weaker strikes, particularly around Lincoln's hair or the wheat ears. Strong strikes generally attract greater collector interest. Surface preservation is equally important. Small contact marks, scratches, carbon spots, fingerprints, or evidence of cleaning can dramatically reduce collector value. Coins with smooth, original surfaces and attractive natural toning often perform much better at auction than examples that have been altered. One of the biggest reasons collectors search through rolls of 1944 wheat pennies is the possibility of discovering a rare mint error. Genuine errors from this year include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, die cracks, die chips, strike-through errors, and lamination defects. These mint-made mistakes create unique collectibles because no two error coins are exactly alike. Among the most famous rarities of the entire Lincoln Cent series is the 1944 steel cent. A tiny number of leftover steel planchets from 1943 were accidentally struck with 1944 dies. These extremely rare coins are among the most valuable Lincoln cents ever discovered. Authentic examples have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars at major auctions, making them legendary prizes for collectors. Because of the extraordinary value of genuine 1944 steel cents, counterfeit examples frequently appear in the marketplace. Some people alter dates on common steel cents or coat copper coins to imitate steel. Professional authentication is essential before assuming that any unusual-looking 1944 cent is genuine. Another desirable variety involves dramatic die cracks and retained die breaks. These raised lines formed when the working die developed fractures after striking thousands of coins. Advanced collectors often seek examples showing impressive die progression because they document the life of the die during production. Lamination errors are also found on some 1944 cents. These occur when impurities within the metal cause thin layers to separate from the surface during striking. When certified as genuine mint errors, These unusual pieces become attractive additions to specialized collections. Professional grading services play a vital role in determining market value. Experts examine authenticity, strike quality, surface preservation, color, luster, and eye appeal before assigning an official grade. Certified coins are then sealed in tamper-resistant holders that provide long-term protection while increasing buyer confidence. Auction results consistently show that certified high-grade Lincoln wheat cents remain in strong demand, while ordinary circulated 1944 Philadelphia cents are usually worth only a modest premium, exceptionally preserved. Mint State Red examples and genuine rare error coins can bring impressive prices. A truly exceptional authenticated error example might reach approximately $685,000 in today's elite collector market, while ordinary no-mint mark 1944 cents are worth far less. Demand continues to grow because Lincoln wheat cents remain one of America's most popular coin series. New collectors appreciate their affordability, while experienced numismatists compete for the finest certified examples. This combination of widespread popularity and limited top-quality survivors helps support long-term collector interest. Experts recommend examining every 1944 wheat penny carefully under good lighting with a quality magnifying glass. Check the date, metal composition, weight, color, strike quality, and any unusual features before making conclusions about value. Even a small detail can make an enormous difference. If you believe you have discovered an unusual 1944 wheat cent, avoid cleaning or polishing it. Cleaning permanently damages original surfaces and can reduce collector value substantially. Instead, store the coin safely and have it examined by a reputable professional grading service. The 1944 Lincoln wheat cent without a mint mark remains a lasting reminder of America's wartime history and the resilience of the nation's economy. Its beautiful design, historical importance, and the possibility of rare error varieties ensure that it continues to capture the imagination of collectors across the world. Every old wheat penny tells a story, and sometimes that story can become far more valuable than anyone ever expected. The next coin has attracted attention among Lincoln wheat cent collectors because it comes from a period when the United States Mint was producing enormous numbers of pennies to meet the needs of a growing post-war economy. At first glance, the 1952 D Lincoln wheat cent may appear to be just another old penny, but experienced collectors know that every coin deserves a closer inspection. Small differences in condition, strike quality, mint-made varieties, and overall preservation can make a significant difference in collector demand. That is why thousands of hobbyists still search through old coin jars, estate collections, and inherited albums hoping to discover an overlooked treasure. The year 1952 was an important period in American history. The nation was experiencing economic growth after World War II, businesses were expanding, and millions of Lincoln cents were being used in everyday commerce. The Denver Mint worked around the clock producing coins that would circulate across the country. Because so many were struck, most 1952 D wheat cents are still available today in worn condition. However, finding one with exceptional quality is much more challenging than many people expect. The D mint mark beneath the date identifies the Denver Mint as the facility where the coin was produced. Collectors often compare coins from different mints because striking quality can vary depending on the condition of the dies and production methods used during the year. A sharply struck 1952 D can display crisp lettering, strong wheat lines, and impressive detail in Abraham Lincoln's portrait, making it more attractive than average examples. The obverse features Victor David Brenner's famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln. Above the portrait appears the national motto, "In God We Trust." To the left is the word "Liberty," while the date and Denver Mint mark appear on the right. This classic design had already been in production for more than 4 decades by 1952 and remained one of the most recognizable images in American coinage. The reverse displays 2 wheat ears surrounding the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum across the top. The elegant wheat design symbolizes America's agricultural heritage and remained in use until the end of 1958, making every wheat cent an important part of U.S. coin collecting history. One feature collectors carefully evaluate is the overall strike. During high-speed production, coin dies gradually wear, causing later strikes to appear softer than those made with fresh dies. A well-struck 1952 D often shows bold details in Lincoln's hair, sharp lettering, and clearly defined wheat kernels. Those characteristics are highly desirable when combined with original surfaces. Many people believe that dirt, corrosion, rust-like discoloration, scratches, or environmental damage automatically make a coin rare. In reality, these conditions usually reduce collector value because they occurred after the coin left the mint. Genuine value comes from originality, preservation, certified grade, and authentic mint-made characteristics rather than accidental damage acquired during circulation. Collectors also pay close attention to the coin's color. Copper naturally changes over time as it reacts with the environment. Professional grading services generally classify copper cents as red, red-brown, or brown. Brilliant red examples that retain their original mint color are usually the most valuable, while naturally toned brown coins can still attract collectors if the surfaces remain original and undamaged. Another important factor is surface preservation. Coins stored carefully for decades may retain much of their original mint luster. This cartwheel effect is one of the first signs experts look for when evaluating an uncirculated Lincoln cent. Once heavy circulation begins, that luster gradually disappears as the highest points wear smooth. Professional authentication is essential whenever a collector believes a coin may have unusual characteristics.
Reputable grading services examine the coin under magnification to determine whether any unusual appearance resulted from the minting process or from later damage. This distinction is critical because only genuine mint-made varieties generally command substantial premiums. The 1952 D Lincoln Wheat Cent is known to collectors in a variety of grades ranging from heavily circulated examples to beautiful mint-state survivors. While circulated pieces are common, superb uncirculated examples with excellent eye appeal become increasingly difficult to locate because relatively few escape circulation immediately after being released. Auction prices can vary dramatically depending on grade, certification, eye appeal, and collector demand. A typical circulated 1952 D wheat cent is generally worth only a modest premium, while exceptional certified mint state examples can sell for significantly more. The highest quality registry-grade coins, especially those with outstanding color and preservation, generate the strongest bidding whenever they appear in major auctions. Collectors should remember that dramatic claims about ordinary damaged coins selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars require careful verification. The most valuable Lincoln Wheat Cents usually owe their remarkable prices to extraordinary rarity, exceptional certified grades, or well-documented mint-made errors, not to dirt, corrosion, or post-mint damage. If you own a 1952 D wheat cent, examine it carefully under bright lighting with a quality magnifier. Look for sharp details, original surfaces, and signs that the coin has not been cleaned or altered. Compare it with certified examples to better understand the characteristics that experienced collectors value most. Whether your coin turns out to be a common circulated example or an unusually well-preserved survivor, the 1952 D Lincoln Wheat Cent remains an important piece of American numismatic history. Every wheat cent tells a story of daily commerce, changing generations, and the enduring popularity of one of the most collected coin series ever produced. Careful study, patience, and proper authentication are the keys to discovering whether an old penny is simply an interesting keepsake or a genuinely desirable collectible in today's auction market. Next up, the 1945 Lincoln Wheat Cent, without a mint mark, represents the final full year of coin production before America entered the post-war era. As World War II came to an end, the United States Mint continued producing billions of coins for everyday commerce. Most examples entered circulation immediately, passing through countless hands over many decades. Because of that heavy use, finding one today with sharp details and beautiful original surfaces is becoming increasingly difficult. A 1945 Lincoln Wheat Cent without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Unlike later decades, Philadelphia cents from that period did not carry a mint mark, making the absence of a mint mark completely normal. During 1945, the Mint focused on producing enough cents to meet the country's growing economic needs as wartime production gradually shifted toward peacetime manufacturing. Although millions were made, relatively few survived in truly outstanding condition. Collectors often appreciate this coin because it represents an important moment in American history. Families across the nation were welcoming soldiers home, industries were changing, and the economy was preparing for a new chapter. Every 1945 wheat penny circulated during those remarkable years, making it a small but meaningful piece of history. The obverse features the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln faces to the right with calm determination, while the words, "In God We Trust," appear above his portrait.